When it came time to writing a book for Hay House, I had written 2 books that died in a year, like died meaning like they were calendars. And so I was thinking, if they're going to give me a shot at doing a book that doesn't, end, I want it to be something that would be what those people who came into my store would come in and get. And so I thought I would tackle the whole relationship conundrum of astrology, because it is certainly a controversial topic, and it's one that I've vehemently have been opposed to openly for a lot of years. But I gave in, and I gave in, in a
Although, as I recall from reading about you, the first entree to astrology was Love Signs by...
Yes, it was. Yeah, I know. Good for you. I mean, I adore Linda Goodman, and that book has changed my life in so many ways, and I thought one of the reasons I was never going to go into relationship, because she did such a beautiful job. But things have changed over the years, and I think what we've learned is that to bring in a truly psychological approach. Some of the most brilliant astrologers in the world today are Jungian, from the studies of Carl Jung, astrologers like Liz Green in London. I mean, these people are brilliant, and it's hard to deny that they're getting their wisdom from this thing that people often make fun of, astrology. So I took all that. I studied for years. I mean, I adored studying. When I'm studying something I love it, like most people probably, but it's like I don't love a lot of things. So, most of my books are technical books, like the psychological impact of, the unconscious through astrology, things like that. And over time you start getting this idea that there is something here that most people don't understand, and it is that there's a simple map that when we enter a relationship, things happen. And we enter them for many different reasons. Some people enter them for just true companionship, they've fallen in love. Other people enter them because they've projected a piece of themselves on this person. Some relationships are solely to help us heal because they're very painful, and other relationships are because we're ready to relax and be comforted. It's varied as the charts are varied, and so I thought I'll put together something that'll introduce it, let people know that there's a little more depth to astrology than just like, oh, you get a 10, and so, of course, I was made to put in those numbers. Just between you and me and the audience, the Lovescope ranking numbers were kind of like the afterthought they wanted me to do. I did not want to do that because I don't want people to feel that what they have isn't strong. So what we qualify those numbers with is the idea that you have a starting point, and you, with wisdom, with the knowledge of the other person, you can increase your number. So basically it started by, let me get a book out there that's going to have staying power, and let me add some meat to it so that it at least gives some credibility to a topic that I really did. I used to tell people there's no such thing as compatibility, because there isn't. We attract, our subconscious mind attracts the right person for what we need. It always will. So what we use the chart for is to just understand what I'm learning from this, because you get it first. And so the chart can help us understand that, and the book will eventually, I think, helps us get an understanding of that there is something to understand.
Yes. And it's much more inside out, the reference point. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's definitely like a guide for understanding the other person as well as yourself, because I know people just jump right in. Now, the beginning of the book is my favorite part, the intro, because they talk so much about projection, and I do believe that it's the essential component of every relationship is what we cannot see, our shadow.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets dumped, and I think that's what we try to retrieve, and I think that's the heart. But to talk about that in a book,
we're always meeting ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. We're dating parts of ourselves that we have no clue that what we're doing. I mean, it's the shadow. I mean, the shadow is truly the shadow because it's too painful to own. So it's not like I can go, oh, that's me. We don't really think it's us. It is us. It's not only, it's really not us. What it is our judgment of us that we're dating. And so we embrace those, and we learn to embrace those, and there's healing that actually occurs in the evolution of a relationship. And no matter how painful, there's the potential to embrace and reclaim a dark part that needed some light, and we let the other person do it. So when you look at an astrology chart, what's really fun is you can see that you and I have talked about, Saturn returns, and, there's all kinds of outer planets doing intense things. Well, if you meet somebody who's having one of those outer planets doing an intense thing, there is a good chance they are going to project that intense thing onto you so that you become their Saturn.
Unless they're very evolved.
Yeah, exactly.
Then they know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing, is that as long as we're kind of doing this human thing, most people aren't going to, everyone's going to cast a shadow. And I think no matter how awake you are, and we can do the words, I think we still project.
Yes,
and I think
our good parts, that's what we fall in love with, the parts of ourselves that are these wonderful parts that we are not able to own within our own selves.
Exactly.
Sometimes we can be afraid of being really successful, and really, we don't want to shine our star too bright. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for whatever reason, we were wounded, or we were told it will attract bad energy to you. Whatever reason that the beautiful parts of us can't be embraced is one thing. And the Course in Miracles will say, special love is special hate. So, like, when you think you've met the person, what we're really doing is meeting someone who we feel completes us, and eventually we need to get rid of them to get that back. And so it's a real setup. So,
it is. It's all. I think it's all a setup.
It is.
Everything is a setup.
It is.
It's all a setup. Yes,
it is. If you go into it with that, and see, you spoke that like a true Scorpio. And it's true. If you go in with that wisdom, that's a wisdom you can have, like, okay, there's something else going on here that I cannot see. I just had this dialogue with a dear friend who's in absolute agony over a relationship and cannot see how, this is a pattern. It's over and over.
It's so much easier to see someone else's.
Yeah. Oh, it's so easy. I know. I love it. I get to point my finger. Because they're in pain. But the minute it happens to me, it's like, this is, I'm unique.
Yeah, you lose consciousness. You're just in the suffering.
That's right. It's so funny. The New Age thing is like, I think it's the meanest group of people in the world who proselytize the most loving words. But I really
know Debbie Ford's The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. Great book.
It's exactly.
Yes, exactly. She's a master at being able to, in practical terms, really reveal the mask, that we wear, we show the world. So, and Carl Jung always said, I'd rather be whole than good.
Exactly. Because sometimes the embrace of complete who we are-ness would not be judged as good. And so, it's like it's a true, authentic self that we're trying to have, and I think astrology is a key to looking at what is the authentic self here. Like what are the keys that I have to play with, and that's why people look at a chart and go, that's not me at all. And I'm thinking, it probably is you. And that's the hard part, because we're pretty removed from what we have available to us. We get so conditioned. It's hard.
Yes, and it's the judgment of it, like you were saying, because there's always the gold, that you can, you can mine the alchemical gold from the shadows so that you can see how it really serves you.
It's funny, and you can. And you can't unless you know that there's something that needs to be mined. It's so funny, like these people, there's a lot of people, I am certainly, I love talking like it's everyone else but me, but I'm very aware it's me, because I have a really critical voice.
Yes, I know you do. You're a little curmudgeon.
I am. I really am. There's a part of me that's like, it's like, this is who I am. But I think the thing that I don't like more than that is when people go, it's all about love. And they're not, but yet, you don't feel an ounce of it about them. It's sort of like, those are the great words. But what's really happening, and again, I reference my baby, The Course in Miracles, would say, until you can bring it all to the altar, quote unquote, which is like sort of like our connection to the divine, until you can honestly bring it, you can't really fix it, because you're in denial that you have it. So if you're like, when people make me angry, or when my mind is just like critical ball, I don't deny that. I don't go, I really love them. I don't know how to love them in that moment, and I don't want to pretend I do. And so,
and to love yourself through that. To love and accept yourself for having that experience, and then it just flows through. It's just an experience.
I'm having this experience. It's not one that I necessarily am proud of, but what am I going to do? My mind is like ripping them off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I watch it, I ask for help,